Why do you climb the mountain? Because it's there.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I'm standing at the base of a mountain, and they got a cable car. Fuck it.
Might as well get in the fucking cable car.
Climb the cable car.
Yeah. Shout out to all of you. Welcome back, Secret House Against. You can hear the music in the background. That's what we're reviewing today. Secret House Against, Tokyo-based hip-hop art and culture conversations about independent, underground, abstract, avant-garde, experimental hip-hop music. Today, Jed and I are back to discuss the new Alaska album, collaborative album with Still Tip Dub, Reverberations of a Dead Man's Ego. It's 15 songs, 40 minutes, and it released on August 15th, I think. We've been sitting on this album for quite a long time. Alaska sent it to us several months ago, and initially we were going to have the great writer-artist himself, Dash Lewis, on, but he was being so bombarded with bullshit from his Eminem review, which I felt for him, because dealing with that ravenous fan base has got to be tough, and his review was fair, but not glowing in terms of what Eminem fans want to hear.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, I apologize for us being kind of away for a few weeks. We discussed that a little bit as to why in the last update that just came out the day yesterday, I would say. I'm gonna put this out as soon as possible. But typhoons, personal health, family in town, more typhoons, Saul Williams shows, the best of the best and the worst of the worst type of things happen to us. So, apologies for that. We'll be here more often. Shout out to the patrons, shout out to everybody, shout out to the supporters. Please hit the like and subscribe if you feel the need to do so, or even if you don't. It's a free thing to do. All right, so let's get into this. We like to talk about how we are familiar with the artist before we get into it, which we've done before, but let's do it again, Jet.
Yeah, so I feel like last time I made a really dismissive offhand comment that was supposed to come across as a joke, and on rewatching the review comes across like a bit like dismissive towards Alaska.
Oh, okay.
So if he picked up on that, I'd like to apologize for that. I think I was just like, oh yeah, he's on that podcast you like.
Oh.
And like that was supposed to be like, a little offhand joke, but when I watched it back, I was like, oh, I just come across as kind of a dick here.
Sure.
I was not, I was aware of who Alaska was. I was aware of Atom's family, like familiar with the kind of broader
you heard him on Cannibal Ox and shit.
On the Cannibal Ox and stuff like that. But that, the last album, The Structural Dynamics of Flow, was my first full-length Alaska listen.
Okay. So not even like Hangar 18 stuff or...
No.
Okay. Well, me, Alaska's been kind of a hero for me. Let me turn up the beats a little bit. I like beats. Alaska's been a hero for me since my youth. When I was really getting into underground independent.
That sounds racist.
Independent digger. No, he was bubbling at the time with the Addams Fam crew. Vordal, Cryptic, Wind and Breeze, Vast Air, and a big part of that New York independent scene that was breaking new ground, creating new styles, or refining new approaches to music. And I've always been kind of fascinated with his skills and ability. I did kind of fall off in the aughts and not really know what he was doing since the last Hangar 18 album, but after the Structural Dynamics of Flow, I went back and I checked out a few of his other releases. Human Zoo that came out in maybe 2019, 2017 is great. Also, last year he had Pop Songs for the Apocalypse, which was only, I think, 15 minutes or so, but it was also great. But I've been a fan of Alaska for a long time, and I just really like and appreciate where he's at in hip-hop now and his position. He's one of the few OGs, I like to throw around the term legendary a lot, because I do think a lot of these cats were legendary to me in my youth.
Sure.
But he's one of the most available, open, honest type of cats that you can get. And I'm a huge fan of the New York honest asshole personality type.
What?
And by that I don't mean like they're assholes, but they tend to not hold their tongues. They have their opinions, and as respectful as they are, somebody might still call them an asshole. And Alaska's an old New Yorker, a Gen X New Yorker type of cat who is weekly just putting out his thoughts on things, and it's a historical it's a historical position of somebody who was deeply entrenched in that culture at the time that you just don't really find anywhere else except for like a few other podcasts. Like Blueprint has his thing, but also, you know, like Alaska was involved in a very specific kind of subset regional part of it. And so, yeah, I love Alaska. I'm a big fan of call out culture. I don't really listen to podcasts often, but if I do, that is one of the few that I go to, as well as the other cats that we rock with, you know.
You also appeared on the podcast quite recently.
That's right. We had a conversation about Style Wars with Illogic, which was fun and fascinating and really fun. And I've always got you know, a warm pile of bricks to sleep on if ever they want me to come and rock with them. It's always fun to talk to Zilla and Castro and Alaska. They're a really just interesting combination of perspectives on hip hop, and yeah, doing some of the illest work in hip hop kind of intelligentsia, so to speak. But sure. So coming into this album, I was just like really excited to see where his art would go, because I think that even on that last Structural Dynamics of Flow, while enjoying it, I found that there was a couple issues with it that I just didn't really exactly like love all parts about it. Yeah. A part of it felt a little bit like cynical to me, which is a part of like Alaska's personality. But
that sort of like Gen X detachment that comes across in his work, and I think that's true for this album too. Although we'll get into that.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, I felt like some of the things that perhaps he was trying to be humorous with on that album didn't really land for me as humor as much as they did kind of like a nihilistic cynicism. Even though I loved several of the songs on that album, and I really thought that album, you benefit in your enjoyment of it knowing who Alaska is and what he's done and who he's done. And this album is a bit of the same, but I also think this is kind of like his magnum opus. I kind of think this is the like a refinement of styles, expression. The ideas are clear, concise, well crafted. The beats are incredible, and it's just a fucking. It's a really interesting album.
It is a incredibly refined record. I mean, even like what him and Dove are doing in Steel Tip Dove are doing in combination with one another. You know, we've obviously seen this combination before, but like, there's kind of a, you know, we kind of see both of their range, I think, more on here than we did like on Structural Dynamics. Steel Tip Dove will go from like psych rock to like new wave to, you know, like
Gen
90s
X-y kind of like metal-y
kind of
t-shirt vibe,
vibes, and then, you know, some straight up like boom bap, and even some more trappy moments on this record as well. It's got turntablism on it too. Like, you have a really wide gamut of what is happening here, and Alaska's floating on basically all of these beats.
The features are like extremely well considered, and this album, unlike Structures to me, is a lot brighter, a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more upbeat. And Steel Tip Dove is one of those producers who he has like several different kind of like palettes and tones. I felt like Structural Dynamics of Flow, the album sounds a lot like the cover. You know, it sounds a little bit like more monotone, like monochromatic. It maintains like a cohesive vibe, but this one switches back and forth. Like, you hear Statues Crumble, and that horn on that is like some 1980s new wave James Chance type of weirdness. And you've got your B-boy type of licks on this. Yeah, and this album is just so full of different vibes and approaches, and the features, man, like everybody kills on this. I think that this album is absolutely wonderful for everything that you can ask for from a rapper or a rap album. You know, bar structures, beat construction, cohesive, creative thoughts, things that, you know, provide insight, styles, dopeness. It's really incredible. Lyrical construction, he adheres to all the kind of tenets that you would want from good rapping. His timing, his syllable counts are so precise, his messages clear and creative, and also he's like extremely personal, braggadocious, right, as well as like unshrinking. He doesn't underestimate people's intelligence or even overstate his own. A lot of this album is so deeply different. It's like it's kind of like part like a memoir slash like philosophical treatise.
Well, so actually, one thing I would like to highlight is that I feel like our friendship helped me, like the friendship between us helped, and doing Secret House helped me understand this record better than where I was at when Structural Dynamics of Flow came out.
Okay.
Because there's like an Americana, there's like a nostalgia, but it's not like a cornfields and guitars type of Americana necessarily. There is that kind of element to it, but the Latchkey Kid, like comic books, Ramel Z, like all of these kind of distinctly hip hop, in its nascence and at its use, and as it's grown and developed, and as Alaska has grown and developed as a person through it. And these are things that as someone who is not American, I can only examine from the outside.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like through our friendship, I see that in you as a person as well. And I think, the fact that like Sleeping Dogs have a feature on here, like I got a similar vibe in some of Jesse's work as well, right? This sort of hip hop Americana through the lens of like someone who's been, present and a sort of force within that culture for an extended period.
So many of the kind of like not just like the really interpersonal things about his life, but they're very specific to who Alaska is. Like on songs, he'll talk about like, that's why I drink. It wasn't because my dad was gone, or this is why I like that. I grew up on metal, and it's like a lot of those things come through in the music in a very personal way. And it's like with Alaska, I often talk about like history, but I don't look at him as a historian as I look at him as like a cultural artifact. He's very specifically who he is. His braggadocio is not like, yo, I'll fucking jump over the moon. His braggadocio is like, this is why I'm kind of dope, because this is how I was kind of made to be. And this is a really, you can read history or can do a brain scan on somebody, but the only way you'll really ever truly understand what a person is or who they are is by talking to them and discussing them, and them having to be open and honest about things. And this album is a really kind of like no holds bar plethora of variety of human experiences from Alaska. And one of the things that makes it even more wildly unique, other than just being a human, is his position in hip hop and his age. This album is mature and older and different than even the millennial angst that I have.
Yes.
This is clearly like Gen X angst. And the apathy of the 90s was something that was a little bit offset for Alaska. Apparently he didn't really get that apathy until maybe the fall of Def Jokes and becoming more of an adult. But he is like laying out things in a more, I don't know if there's another album that I've really heard that highlights age and that experience in any way. Like, you listen to Scarface albums, newer Scarface, and I hope he recovers well. I just saw somebody say he was in the hospital, but you listen to Scarface, you listen to Jay-Z, you listen to Master Ace, or all these older aging MCs, and I don't know if there's anything on this like out there that is even close to this, even from some of my heroes. You listen to, there's a wisdom when you listen to Blueprint. There's a wisdom when you listen to a lot of people. Blueprint puts himself out like that a lot too. The only thing that comes to mind was different.
Maybe the Rock Marcy we reviewed a couple of years ago. What is the Elephant Man's Bones? Was that the Rock Marcy joint?
Yeah, with Alchemist. Yeah.
With Alchemist, where we also had a similar kind of like older cat puts you on game type vibe. Obviously, it's from a Rock Marcy perspective, and it's distinctly Rock Marciano. It's street, it's mafioso, it's gangster. It's got those kind of elements, which is not necessarily the same school that Alaska is coming from. But one thing I also really, really appreciate is that while this album does have that backwards looking, sometimes navel gazing kind of element to it, the production is so fresh and so clean and so vibrant, as we've come to expect from Steel Tip Dove, that you get that sort of refinement and that futuristic element to it as well. You have a track like Neuromancer, where he's, obviously you've got those references to ancient Rome and Neuromancer, and cyberpunk. It is very Gen X in that respect, but at the same time, it's like this wonderful combination of like very old school sounding synthesizers and also, you know, the scratching turntablism. And also, it sounds so like clean and new and refreshing. You know, it sounds like a brain feeder record or something.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I think that on this album they pull off really interestingly, because you hear so much of Alaska's personality in the beats. There's like a nostalgia for them, but not a nostalgia that leads too far back into trying to recreate them. It's more like taking elements of the personalities of them and shaping them into these new interesting combinations of things that are reminiscent of the things that perhaps they grew up with, or that Alaska grew up or loved. Like the beat construction on this shit, like it's all over the place. When you listen to Gobekli Tepe, like that beat, and shout out to the great John Robinson, friend of the show. I met him like whenever that says he was here, but yeah, shout out to John Robinson, one of the best like cats that was around back then doing it, and that beat is just perfect. And you get like, there's so many things calling back to hip hop culture and middle America, like middle class Americanness, that this album resonates with me on a deep level, not because of a lot of the things that I like to resonate with in my music is what I like to call the black radical tradition. But Alaska is also a part of the radical tradition of hip hop that helped shape me. Same with John Robinson. Same with, there's a Cryptic One feature on this, and I haven't heard Cryptic in a while, but it's good to have that back. And so many parts, like this beat is like a perfect kind of, this is what you want to hear Little Psy on. This is kind of like a jazzy kind of like boom bap hip hop thing, but it's also just musicality is coming through this in a different way. And oh my God, Castro slides on this shit so incredible too. Yeah. I was like, yo, so many of these tracks are just extremely well thought out. To me, this is a masterpiece album for Alaska, and I've been calling it his magnum opus because, like, man, it gives me like. It gives me kind of like, it resonates for me a lot because of the nostalgia, but it's also like a solid look at like the historical arc of the middle class and why he feels this way about the things that he feels about. He's heard a lot of it before. The first line of the album, I think, is, yo, they promised me a world collapse and all I got was atrophy. And we've been living in this too late stage capitalism for such a long time. He provides you not only context for like how he feels about things, but how he was shaped by those things and why he feels about those type of things. It's a really kind of, I don't want to say like a sober look, but it is deeply personal without being overly like, what is it like
it's not hokey, it's not
it's
like
not
overly
it's
sentimental,
not overly sentimental. That's a good way to put it. But man, that just like the callbacks to things of nostalgia, like recontextualizing usages of old rhymes, like this KRS-One, like that's like there's a war going on outside. The way he recontextualizes, like, Alaska is a b-boy sapien. He's a hip-hop human being. And again, like, I've never ever heard anybody do this before.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's like, yeah, it's amazing. I used to love, you know, the variety of subtle flows that Alaska's approaching and using on this. I used to really love Alaska for these kind of like really long on sentences that made you think. And then later Alaska started doing like these kind of double time fast raps with Hangar 18 a lot, and kind of like more scatterbrain kind of, you know, free form thought connection, you know, can you dig it, the gigabyte living life in the cities like a snake plissken. Like he was doing those type of things, which were always dope. But on this, like, things you notice, like he's a refined MC. His enunciation has always been super good, but on this he's just able to write like more succinctly to make his points. He doesn't ramble much or rap to rap. He might have a dad joke in there here and there, but he's a fucking dad. You know what I mean? It's like he doesn't even perform live shows like that anymore. Like, you know, talking to him, he's like, yeah, I might go meet up with all the rap homies, but we're not like, you know what I mean? We're not like bombing the city and fucking, you know what I mean, writing graffiti anymore. But almost every single bar on here is him clearly clearly and concisely telling you how he feels. A fifth grader could keep up with this line of thought, but a barsmith will find satisfaction there too, because it's like somewhere in between like Ka and like, I don't know, Devin the Dude. Like, it's just very forward and just really great, bro. He sent me the lyrics, right? Like, I was just like, yo, are you releasing the lyrics to this? Are going to be out? Because I like to, like, even though it's extremely easy to hear him because it's enunciation, right? And you could, unlike other,
transcribe it very easily.
Like even with Castro, like my hearing is bad. I'm like, oh, what did he say? And I try to struggle to get it. With Alaska, everything is just like, that's exactly what that word is. Yes. There's not a line on this album that I was like, what did he say here? I was just asking for the lyrics because I was like, are you releasing them? And he's like, nah, but here they are. And he's like, I even typed out the other MCs who like Alaska's just one of the fucking salt of the earth, dude. One of the best people in the industry that I've ever met, and I met a lot of cats. He's fucking so cool, and this album is, it's so dope. Like this song that I've had looping now, it's like he talks about that era of like this kind of fascination with ancient mythology, like ancient secret history, hidden history, and it's like, you know, it's just fucking great. And Castro and John Robinson is the perfect kind of meeting ground of like a new artist and an older artist to meet this vibe. Oh my God, like they're all so dope. But Castro's line where he's like, once upon society, Castro was a menace. Now a rave writer the city always remembers. Once the stage entered, the moon was triple black darkness, bro. Went back to the dumpster and got the baby for Brenda. Remember Brenda. Like, Castro's crazy. But just those lines, man, like it.
Stone mammoths left after the time left me.
I'm just going to go through some of these tracks and play them if we can kind of riff on them a little bit, because I undoubtedly one of my favorites of the year. I've played this album, like it's not going to reflect on my end of the year wrap up for Spotify. It's not even on Spotify yet, but this album has remained in rotation for me, and it's like this year is shaping up to be fucking heavy hitting year for
very,
really
very
dope
good
music.
year.
But yeah, like listen, this is like some synthy,
a little arpeggiated synths. And
So-
also just the very subtle, I don't know if he's side chaining it to something or if he's just if it's like automated, like, but there's like a very the swelling of the chords is also like, there's a swelling of the velocity that the keys are being hit, or maybe there's like automation that's like bring them up, but it gives the beats like like every beat has so much like little bits of nuance and depth to them. It's the kind of stuff that L Spade would definitely pick up on. And I think if you're like a beat nerd in the way that I am, you're probably going to pick up on a lot of this stuff too. Some of the little tricks that Steel Tip Dove is pulling that just gives the beats a bit more atmosphere, a bit more air, and just things that like I'm like, oh, okay, this is stuff I need to think about during my own creative process as well.
Yeah, you know, I've still got the lyrics. Yeah, but let's just bounce through a couple of them, because actually I'm gonna bounce through all of these motherfuckers if I could. This is our show, yeah.
This is
I
our
look
show.
at the screen like, is it our show?
25 minutes or so.
Yeah. Like Ballad of the Has-Been.
1, 2.
Right.
Old man shit.
Exactly.
Old man shit.
Swear I see ghosts in my periphery, often just out of focus, the old shit hidden in history. My epistemology acknowledges the misery. I'm miserly, but that's just a side effect of conditioning.
Yo, what I didn't want to do this time was to really like try to get into like some of like the like the terms that he uses to describe these things, like, you know, his epistemology, and really trying to get to it. But he does clearly have like this kind of like understanding of his perspective on these things, and to me it's like really just incredible. Like 99 with bomb and common sound. Yeah, there's a war going on outside, like
No man is safe from. There's a war going on.
yeah, he says lines like controversy sells, and that's marketing 101. It's a confidence game. If you don't see the mark, you're the one. It
Time and time waits for no man. At least that's how they phrase the line.
yeah, statues crumble. Listen to this horn. Like, to me, this is like some real James Chance type of shit.
1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah.
I found Zen via walkabout. I wandered the streets, took my whole life to learn about want versus need. Yeah. Now I'm just a skinflint. Yeah, like he's so self-deprecating and like the most like you hear me do that all the time. Like I'm fucking old as shit, bro. Like I don't have anything to prove to nobody about this shit. Like, but I done seen some shit now. My whole damn life they've been promising cataclysm. Why you think I drank so much? It wasn't like my dad was missing. He's accurately diagnosing all of the issues with the modern world, and a lot of the feelings he has, it's just like I see them in the youth. And that's why even though this album has a kind of like an Gen X like intelligent type of feel to it, when you go back and you watch like High Fidelity, you understand those feelings because they still are such at a human level that you can get it no matter what. Of course, you know, talking about like our feet hurting and shit is a little bit different. Like you or fucking like Trey Does might laugh at being younger for different degrees, but like all of this stuff just hits on levels even if you don't come from the place where Alaska comes from, have the age that he has or the experiences, because a lot of this shit is like universal type of human expressions or experiences that you would have as just like a person. And on top of that, the features like Sleeping Dogs, like Andrew and like Jesse are going to help punctuate this feeling across a wider breadth of generations. Yes. It takes it there, and the production is definitely not on some like I'm nostalgic for 90s boom bap. I'm nostalgic for 2000s boom bap. It's different.
There's elements on there, but again, it's the flexibility that Steel Tip Dove is able to demonstrate on this record. Is that like some of it is very contemporary looping, you know, drumless type stuff like we have here, but at the same time it's like the sample choice does kind of harken back to a certain Middle American kind of vibe, and then sometimes it'll sound like Atmosphere, and then sometimes it'll sound like Sam I Am. Like there's a really broad scale of the kind of hip hop experience that you get on this record.
Regret the books you don't read and the shots you didn't take. Life is hard enough, save hypocrisy for the saints. Ain't a word. Is what my mama used to say. There's pain inside the crucible. The wounds are crude to like this is, you know, a guitar loop perfect for Andrew and Jesse. Bad Seeds, I really rock with this because he was the first generation of latchkey kids, but I'm also one of the last, maybe the last generation of latchkeys. I don't know, but I was a latchkey kid too. First generation of the latchkey, children of divorce, the emotionally detached teens. Yeah. Movies gave us bad dreams. And listen, like that production, bro, that horn, that rich piano, it's like, so like this album is so much more vibrant to me than the previous album, and maybe I need to go back and re-listen to that one again, but something about this album is just like really colorful to me. Also, they've got Jedi Son of Spock, bro. I forgot about Jedi. I think he changed his name to Bacteria, but like House of Reps, fucking Lyricist Lounge, like he's still nice too. When I saw the name, I was like, wait a second. You know, because it's not like I've been following his career. I feel like the last time I thought about Jedi Son of Spock was like 2005 or some shit, right? All up in the club, only dude looking like James Spader from the age of Angel. Yeah. Looking like James Spader is fucking amazing, bro. I mean, white cats could pull that shit off, I guess, yeah. But yeah, Jedi Son of Spock. Like, for you guys that don't know, I mean, like, maybe figure it out. And the next track, Murdered by Numbers with Prem Rock and Fatboy Sharif, it's like a perfect, like, I keep on saying that I don't know how, like, people are really good at, like, making themselves sound, like, perfectly fine with Sharif because he's such a kind of a unique artist, but maybe it's Sharif who's just capable of fucking rocking on everything, like, because, like, this beat, I feel like this kind of speaks to a little bit of, like, that metal kid. Yes. You know, that Gen X metal kid. Yes,
because Sharif is black metal as shit.
Yeah.
Like, there is, though, you know, I think of, like, a fucking Mayhem or a even like there's a bit of like that 80s speed metal vibe kind of going, like a Racer X or a Death with Sharif that is absolutely wonderful and fits really well on like a track like this, which has the guitar samples and these kind of wails in the background.
Like, speed is crazy. Here, hold on, I'm gonna fast forward a bit because I think there's a bit of a beat switch up. Oh no, that vocal. Decapitated love.
Sharif's delivery is a little different on here as well. He's using a different register. I feel like normally Sharif uses the bassier part of his voice, whereas here he's up here. He's doing like it's almost like a pantomime, like horror antagonist. The slasher flick, which shows up in as a reference on this album. It's like Sharif is this slasher flick presence.
Ate an infant.
Gross.
Yo, that vocal sample is so ill. Oh no, what have I done? Hold on, let me get back to Alaska.
We on some Ross Gino?
Yeah, shout out to rest in peace, Ross. Oh, I guess I can't just. All right, so we talked about Neuromancer. Let me see.
Sometimes it gets foggy in the tempo.
Yeah. Even this is like so different.
Yeah. I mean, it's trappy. It's very contemporary.
Used to play sports and my dad got my
And I really love the bridge on this. Until we make the unconscious conscious, it will direct our lives and we'll call it fate.
Actually, I'm laying glorious. I prefer the couch going out and performing.
Vainglorious.
The rap Jay Pritchard and my missus is a Gloria. It's like Sodom and Gomorrah, or the gods of Mortis in the form of an order. American Horror Story, kids in the corridor. Television raised me, mom should be Florida. I got all these broken pieces, spare parts and overeating damage. I know I'm concealing clearly. I don't know the reasons. Tell myself these little lies so I can go and live my life. Survival instinct gets me by. In time I might just get it right.
Yeah. Yo, this beat is so dope too. And also he says, I used to wear a Nietzsche, now I might be diabetic. Yo, the doctor was just like, yo, we're not sure what's going on with your blood pressure. Look at this spider. Sorry, buddy. Because he was hanging from Spider-Man.
There you go.
I like my pseudoscience, and I'm an armchair psychiatrist. Yeah, I'm a nihilist, but only because I'm tired as shit. Yeah. Okay, maybe we're going off too low. Let me just talk about like two more songs, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Hit it.
I mean, like, all right. Hold on. Disappearing Act. Cryptic One, yo.
Cryptic One. Adam's Family.
He said, put down the smartphone, it's making you dumb. Have you considered therapy, maybe breaking your thumbs? Fucking hard. And yo, this is a year that I've really started to enjoy Zilla's voice. Before I was like, Zilla's got a cool voice, but this year, I think that Chong Wizard fucking like changed something in my brain.
What?
Because I love that album, and I go back to it all the time. And now Zilla's voice to be like, every time I hear him, like, yeah, Zilla, go the fuck off.
Supplement plans, get your adrenal right. Get your side hustle up and start drop shipping. You talk shit, I'm thought leading, it's a stark difference.
Put down the smartphone, it's making you dumb. Have y'all considered therapy, breaking your thumbs?
Yeah, that's fucking hard. On track 14, Don't Care No More, I was like, yo, is Alaska singing? I don't know if I want this. And then I was like, yo, I fucking love this. Yeah, singing is good. Hold on, let me just... This might be one of my favorite songs in the album.
I don't care no more.
Cops are filling quotas with their Punisher logos. I don't care no more. These lames are in their echo chambers on their Mike Shinoda. Yeah, I like this one a lot. In the last song, Reverberation of a Dead Man's Ego. First off, the title of the album is great. And I think it comes from a television show like Structural Dynamics of Flow did.
Okay.
But I kind of love how the album relates to that title so much. Like,
Yes.
it's like an aging person and a person that's just like, you know, like we're the past now.
Yes.
It's like that Patrice O'Neal shit. Like, you the future. I'm dead. See, you know what I mean? Like, you the future. Like, you know, I'm old. I'm washed. I'm done.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like these are all like reverberations of his life experience and everything. It really is dope. It's free will, free markets, freedom is a slogan. Systems need useful idiots. It needs Joe Rogans.
Hey.
Fucking this album's great. I'm gonna put it on that last song and let's wrap it up.
Yeah, the title track.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful beat. Yeah, man. I'm trying, Ringo. I'm fucking trying. Yeah, I love this album. It's like a no skip album to me. I kind of just put it on and rock with it. Although I do get stuck on a few songs. Gobeliki Tepe, Statues Crumble. Also, I Don't Care No More is kind of an earworm for me. Yeah. Murdered by Numbers is all like, Mild for the Night. That's like a perfect encapsulation of how I be feeling a lot, like being tired. I just like this album a lot, bro. What do you got for your favorites?
I'd probably go with Ballad of the Has-Been, Neuromancer, and Göbekli Tepe. Göbekli?
I'm not sure I pronounce it. I don't think I was reading about that by Graham Hancock when I was in my 20s. I don't remember that one like that. But I heard Action Bronson say it a while back too.
I'm sure he did.
And then he talked about doing like a somersault and eating a fucking like, I don't know, a panini.
Shouts out to Mel Gibson giving him COVID at the McGregor-Poirier 3 fight.
Is that right?
it's a lyric on a new album, but yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Tight. Yeah, this is a good one. I highly recommend that you guys check this one out. Link in the bio. Also in the bio, I'll try to remember to put. There's kind of like an album, like I forget what the term that he used, but just a bunch of tracks, a primer perhaps, to get you into Alaska and check him out. He made a Spotify playlist. I'll put that in there for you guys too. Definitely check that out. Definitely check out old Adams Fam shit. I still be geeking out on it. Definitely check out that old Hangar 18 shit. It's amazing to see his growth as an artist and also to hear about those experiences. Shout out to all of our patrons who are on the screen right now. Shout out to the people that we rock with. Call Out Culture, Caltrops Press, Noname Book Club,
Rap Music Plug Podcast,
Extraordinary Rap Podcast, Free Music Empire, Focus Hip Hop. Who else do we got? People. The squad is strong.
Yeah.
The squad is strong. We'll be back. Thank you. Farewell.
Hey.
Enjoy yourself.
Reverberations of a dead man's ego.